Story 1, Dorm Room 733. This is a story about two students, Mia and Alex, who arrived at their new dorm feeling both tired and excited. They never imagined they would end up in room 733, a room every student whispered about in fear. As soon as they unlocked the door, the air inside felt colder and heavier than the hallway, which is normal for a room that hasn't been used for a while. They unpacked their bags and took a moment to look around. Then they started tidying up, sweeping the floor and arranging their belongings neatly. Once the chores were done, they turned off the lights and tried to sleep. But that first night, they heard strange scratching sounds coming from inside the walls, like fingernails scraping drywall. They told themselves it was just mice or the pipes settling, but neither of them slept well. Over the next few days, odd things began to happen. Textbooks and notebooks fell off the shelves without any reason, and sometimes the window slammed shut on its own, even when the latch was still open. One evening, Alex returned from class to find Mia standing very still in the middle of the room. She was staring at a corner where a shadow seemed to grow darker and larger. When Alex switched on the lamp, the shadow vanished, or what he thought was. On the desk, they noticed a strange palm print pressed into the wood, so big it could not have been made by a human hand. They asked their dorm mates, but nobody had entered the room, and considering it was locked for the last several years. That night, as Mia and Alex lay side by side in bed, they heard their names whispered over and over in a voice so soft it sounded like wind rustling through leaves. Mia sat up suddenly and saw a pale figure at the foot of her bed. Its head was tilted, and its eyes were two empty black holes in a featureless face. Alex reached for her hand, but his fingers went ice cold. He pulled her close as the figure drifted nearer and nearer, while Mia stared in horror. Suddenly, the lights flickered and then died. In the darkness, they huddled together and started shouting for help, and as reported by Alex, he felt like the walls of the room started shaking, almost as if there was a big earthquake. After that, both of them don't remember what happened, and when they opened their eyes, they saw the first light of dawn through the window. Without a word, Mia and Alex scrambled to gather their belongings. They threw their things into their bags and ran down the hall, not daring to look back. They only stopped once they reached the lobby, their bodies still trembling from fear. The halls were silent, and no one was to be seen in the dorms, as if no one ever lived there. Later, they learned that years ago, a student had hanged himself in room 733, and no one who lived there ever stayed more than a week. Mia and Alex never returned to collect their things. Room 733 has remained empty ever since, but late at night, some students say they still hear faint scratching and soft whispers coming from behind its sealed door. Story 2, The White Face in the Window. This is a story about Claire moved into an old farmhouse at the edge of town in Texas, hoping for a fresh start after a painful breakup with her boyfriend. One afternoon, she wandered into the nearby woods to clear her mind. As she climbed over tangled roots and thick moss, she noticed a wooden box half buried beneath gnarled tree roots. Curious Claire went to open the rusted latch and found a smooth white mask inside. The mask had no features except empty eye holes that seemed to stare back at her. Feeling uneasy, Claire tucked it under her arm and carried it home as a strange decoration. Still unclear why she did that, but that is definitely not something any normal person would do. That night when she went to bed, she was jolted awake by a tapping on her bedroom window. Her heart pounded when she saw the mask's blank face pressed against the glass, as if someone were peering in with silent eyes. She blinked hard, thinking it's just her mind playing tricks, but it didn't disappear. Heartbroken Clary, who already went through a lot, got up angrily. She yanked open the window, yet no one was there, and the ground below was undisturbed. Her initial thought was maybe it's some drunk person trying to mess with her, so she went ahead and locked every door and window before crawling back into bed. She woke again in the dead of night from the bitter cold, and what she felt terrified her. She sensed a presence at the foot of her bed, and when she tried to peek there on her nightstand sat the mask. even though she had tossed it into her closet before falling asleep. Determined to end this nightmare, she grabbed the mask and smashed it against the tiled floor. But to her horror, the shattered pieces snapped back together, reforming the face. Terrified, Claire wrapped the mask in plastic, drove into the woods at dawn, and hurled it into a ravine so deep that sunlight barely reached the bottom. She watched it disappear among fallen leaves, then turned to leave, only to see the masked face staring at her through her car window. Its empty eyes burned with intent. She slammed the door shut and raced home, barricading herself inside. From then on, every reflective surface in the house began to show that same face creeping closer. It filled the mirrors, appeared in windows, and even stared back from the stainless steel of her refrigerator. Each night, the tapping grew louder and more insistent, and Claire could only sleep for a few minutes before waking in a cold sweat. She tried to burn the mask in her fireplace, but the flames seemed to spit the smoke back like a gust of wind. And when the fire died down, the mask lay intact on her hearth. As a last resort, she drove all night, crossing county lines, and buried the mask beneath fresh concrete in a service station parking lot. Days later, she returned to her car and found the mask lying on the passenger seat. That evening, she locked herself inside and turned off all the lights. As she lay trembling in bed, she felt the mattress dip beside her and heard breath so cold it sounded like winter wind slipping through a cracked door. Then a hollow voice whispered, "I'm home." In that moment, Claire knew the mask would follow her anywhere. And after that, no one ever heard from Clary ever before. Story 3, The Little Girl. This is a story about Leela, who lived in the quiet village of Wingrove, where children once played beneath an ancient peepul tree at the edge of a dark forest. One summer night, she wandered under the tree, gathering wildflowers for her grandmother, and never returned. When the villagers found her empty basket by the massive roots, they heard her whispers like her voice still called from the hollow trunk. Since it was a small village, rumors and stories spread like wildfire, and from then on, the tree became a place of dread, and nobody dared linger there. People said Leela's spirit had become trapped between life and death, making the hollow trunk both her prison and her home. Anyone who passed too close felt her sorrow wrap around them like a cold blanket. Travelers reported hearing soft, off-key singing drifting on the breeze, sad enough to bring tears to their eyes. If they followed the sound, they found themselves at the peepul's base, where gnarled branches twisted down as though waiting to pull them in. It is said that some people who tried to peek inside the hollow saw a small girl crouched in the darkness, pale skin, tangled-haired, with eyes gleaming like black pearls. Her lips moved in the silent song. Once you saw her there, you could not look away. However, some villagers believed she had likely been taken by wild beasts from the jungle and dismissed the stories as mere rumors. But those who believed in these so-called rumors tried chopping down the tree to free Leela's spirit, discovered that each time an axe struck the wood, the blade shattered, sending splinters flying back. When villagers sprinkled holy water on the trunk, it sizzled and froze, and anguished screams rippled through the night as though the tree itself cried out in pain. On moonless evenings, people swore they saw Leela's pale face appear in the windows of empty cottages or reflected in the still waters of the pond, as if she were searching for someone to set her free. Some who stayed too late vanished just like Leela. Their families found footprints leading to the tree, and then nothing. Even those who escaped the root's grasp returned home haunted. They dreamed of singing voices whispering their names, and woke with scratches on their arms that bled dark, sticky sap. Over time, the villagers built a low fence around the peepul and hung bells from its branches, hoping the constant jingling would keep the spirit at bay. But the bells always fell silent at midnight, and the air grew heavy with sorrow. To this day, the tree stands silhouetted against the setting sun, Its branches sway as if moved by a breeze that isn't there, and at dusk its roots seem to pulse with unseen life. To this day, some dismiss the accounts as mere tales and rumors, yet they still refuse to go near the tree, as if deep down they know something is wrong with it. And there you have it. Let me know which one unsettled you the most in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the scares, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you never miss any video. Thanks for watching, and comment below what would you like to see next. Until then, don't watch alone.